Hey everybody, I just wanted to show you a quick video about how we can go about making scale adjustments and making animation in Photoshop. So the first thing we want to do is open up a new document. So we go to File, New, and remember for our GIFs we want to have a 5" by 5" artboard, and we want it to be 72 pixels per inch, because we're doing for screen. So it's going to be a little less high for resolution to help us a little bit with our the size of our file. So we go ahead and hit create. We'll locate our image. So use this one. Okay. And we just want to size it up if it needs it. We don't want to have any extra space around the outside. And once you have that, we can just hit the check mark or enter. And see, we have a background layer here, so we don't want to have that. So we will delete it. And the other thing we want to do is make sure that we don't have a smart object. So if you see this little icon in the corner here, it means that it's a smart object. So what we'll have to do is right click on it, scroll down here, and hit rasterize layer. Now that icon goes away and we are good to go. So now what we want to do is duplicate this layer 9 times so that we have 10 layers. The easiest way to do that would be to hit Command J if you're on a Mac, or Control J if you're on a PC. Great, so now I have 10 layers, and I want, make this just a little bit bigger. I only want to be able to see our bottom layer, because basically if I do anything to this layer while this layer on top is visible, I won't be able to see my adjustments because it's hidden underneath this layer. That's going to be true for all of these things. So we just want to see our bottom layer to start off with. And we could go through and hide all of these manually, but I mean that takes a while. So the faster way to do it is to right click on the eyeball here and hit hide, show hide all other layers. And basically that just turns off all the eyeballs. When you turn on and off the eyeball, it's just toggling on and off the visibility. So if the eyeball is on, you can see it. So now we have our layer here, and we want to adjust the scale of one of the elements on our composition. So to do that, we're going to use the magic wand tool. You can see it right here. If you don't have this available, it might be hidden. So every time we have this little triangle underneath one of the icons, it means there's more tools nested inside. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Even if it looks like a different icon, we'll right click on it and you can see all these different tools here. We want the magic wand tool. The way the magic wand tool works is we have this parameter here called tolerance. Tolerance lets us choose how much it's accepting and how much it's not accepting. It goes from 0 to 255. So if I turn this up to 255 and I try to just click on something, it selects everything because it basically has the tolerance turned all the way up. Whereas if I put it on 10, deselect, and then try to select again, it's far less. So you might have to kind of go through and adjust your parameters to find something that selects just enough of your object. So I want to click. You don't have to click and drag. All you have to do is just simply click on the object you want to select, and it selects it. You can see it did a pretty good job. You can see this sort of dotted line will show us what part of that image is selected. So now that I have that selected, I want to hit the shortcut for transform, which is going to be Command T if you're on a Mac, or Control T if you're on a PC. And you'll know it's working by this blue box that comes up around your object. That means that we can transform it. To do this in a controlled way, we'll want to type in our controls either here or here. These are just our width and our height adjustments. But because this thing, this little button, this little link is selected, any adjustments I do to the height or any adjustments I do to the width are linked together. So it doesn't really matter which one you put it in. For this demo, we're going to go up by increments of 50. So you have to think 100% is normal scale. It's all the way up, 100%. So if I go above 100%, I'm scaling up. If I go below 100%, I'm scaling down. So I want to go up, with each layer I want to scale up by the same number, so I'm going to use 50. So for this first layer, I'm going to choose 150, and you can see that image start to scale. And hit OK. Now this is really important. We want to deselect after we've made our adjustment. So we want to hit, if you're on a Mac, Command D, or if you're on a PC, Control D, Control D for deselect, and that will get rid of our little line. Then we'll select our next layer by clicking on the text, and then we'll turn it on by the eyeball, and we'll do the same thing. We'll select our object, Command or Control T, and this time I'll go up by another 50%. So the last time was 150, this time it's 200. And now I can hit the check mark, and remember I'll deselect here by Command or Control D. Next layer. I'll choose the magic wand, select, Control T, this time it's 250. And deselect. And I'm just going through and doing the same thing each time. It's 300. $350, deselect. And now that I got to 350, I want to start scaling back down. The goal is to get our loop to continuously loop around. So this time I'll transform it and I'll go back down to 300. $250. Deselect. $200. Oh. Didn't mean to change that. 200. Deselect. $150. Deselect. And then this one I don't have to do anything for because it went from 150. The last frame will be 100 to our normal scale. So we've made our adjustments to all of our frames, all of our layers, sorry. And now we can turn them into frames for our animation. So to do that, we'll do create frame animation. If you don't see the screen, we want to go to window and make sure timeline is checked. That'll allow this to show up. We'll click on create frame animation and we have our first frame. But we want all of our layers to show up as frames. Let's do this quickly. We'll hit this little icon with the 4 lines and click make frames from layers. Now all of our layers are converted to frames in our timeline. I'll select all of these by clicking on the first one, holding shift, clicking on the last one, and now I can change the time of all of my layers at the same time. I can choose 0.03, hit OK, and now I can preview, and we can see my little A is scaling up and scaling back down, and it's looping perfectly. Great. So now the only thing left is to export. So to do that, we'll go to File, Export, Save for Web. Now this is for doing the animated GIF. So we'll choose the preset GIF 128 dithered. We'll make sure our looping options is set to forever, and we can hit save. Now we can name our GIF. We can choose where we're going to save it to. I'll just save mine to my desktop for now, and I'll hit save. Great. So now if I go to my desktop, We have our GIF working. And now I want to export all my layers to individual JPEGs so we can put those in our process book. So to do that, we'll go to File, Export, and Layers to Files. We can choose where we want to save to. We can name our files, and then we'll want to make sure that we choose JPEG and the quality is all the way up to 12. And then we can hit Run. Depending on your computer's speed, it might take different times for you, but then it should give you this notification that the export layers to files was successful. We can go into our desktop where I saved my files, and we'll see all of our layers, which is great. Then we can save those to our computer, or we just save those to our computer, but we'll want to upload those to Box. After you finish that, you can go through and make another GIF, another animation with a different transformation. So you can try using scale in a different way, or you can try any of the other features with the Photoshop. Give it a shot and have fun.